good evening, and welcome to Conversations with Entrepreneurs. The movie's gone, but Dion is still jamming. So we'd like to welcome everyone, all our viewers and all our listeners here tonight. So tonight, our topic of the discussion is going to be supporting Black businesses as entrepreneurs. How do we navigate which and who we support? So we'll start with Chanel. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing okay. It's Double L Chanel, thanks to Double N Ken from last week. I have been wearing that out, but I'm great tonight and happy to be here.
Dion?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a great Monday. We've been very busy, so please enjoy the show.
And Jeff?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff. Two F's. I don't know. Nice to see everybody. Jeff White, Fitness Solutions. Yes, we did LLC. Happy to be here, as always.
Double F Jeff.
Two A's in there. Alethea with two A's, and Dion got to put his whole name so he can have two E's, since we're going to do the twos. So tonight, supporting Black businesses. We've talked about this before, but I think it's important now to discuss it in a little bit more detail, because it goes back to how do we navigate which entrepreneurs to support, and it's like who. So which type of business, and how do we navigate who? So I'm going to let the fellows get started tonight. Chanel, I'm going to start with you, Dion. What does that mean to you? Because your industry is a little different. And so how do you address as far as that motto of trying to support Black businesses?
You need me to go first, fam?
Yes.
You go, Jeff. Okay, great. I'm sorry. I had a little freeze up where I'm at. Thank you for letting me go first too. I think the mental health piece is the piece I'm always kind of speaking from, to, and through, and all that other kind of stuff. I sent an article to Alethea right before the show came on. It was a young lady. I was reading it, and it was a point she made about what we think about Black business affects the whole supporting of Black business. And, if I could say kind of as much as I can, just in a short amount of time, sometimes the issue becomes service. Sometimes the issue becomes product. Sometimes the issue becomes timing and time of delivery and things of that nature. Sometimes the issue becomes price. A lot of times the thought towards Black business and support from the other side of that coin can be, I want you to hook me up because I'm Black too. The other side of it can be, you ought to take some of my ideas and make some money and help me make some money and kickstart my stuff vicariously through your stuff on the other side of the coin. I thought the lady, I think her name was Kristen Blackinson, fam?
Yeah, Blacken. Christina Blacken.
Kristen Blacken. Yes. I thought it was so smart. She made a point to say that the thought with Black business and supporting it is sometimes, and I think both of these sides of the coin I just gave speak to this, what she said. It's because we don't think of Black business as creative equals. And some of that is by default because of not just where we are and that kind of stuff, but typically the first encounter with any kind of product, it could possibly be not Black owned, could possibly be not Black generated. Just real briefly, and then I'll jump off again, and maybe so I can listen. Killer Mike, rapper and a politician. He is. he did a thing on Netflix where he was gonna look for Black business. He was gonna do only Black stuff. I think it was 3 days he was doing. He was trying to do it. You familiar with this, Jeff? He could not find anything Black owned from the ground up. The restaurant he went to, where they got the product from a farm that was not Black. The place he went to go, even was something he was going to get some juice, something, the juice products, the building was Black, the ownership was Black, people was Black, but the product did not come from Black. And so it is a real conundrum. It is a real conundrum, and it's a couple of things to deal with before before that support that we do. I know we do. I believe I believe in we don't just pray, we pay. Because and don't ask for somebody to give you the hookup. Support them because that's what you want. You want full price when you get your stuff together, your entrepreneurship, and you offer your price. You don't want to price haggle just because they Black for you to pay full too. So I think those points that Miss Blacken made, I thought they were so important. And
Didn't hear the last part. We kind of lost his audio for a second there.
I'm sorry. I said I'm gonna jump off right there because I know Chanel and Jeff gonna have great stuff to say.
So Chanel, Dion said you're gonna have some great stuff to say.
Well, I guess the pressure is on now, right? We've had this conversation, and there are many ways to support. I actually came across the article that lists out 13 ways to support, and we've talked about these. I'm going to go through them real quick and then tell you some that stand out for me. So 13 ways that you can celebrate and support Black-owned businesses would be start with visibility. I mean, that's kind of straightforward. Ask what they need. I have a story about that. I have a conversation I had last week and how that is a method or a way to support Black businesses. Be intentional, share with your own social circles. We talked about social capital, build a relationship, invest in them, write and share a review, share a seat at the table, provide equal access to funding, offer mentorship and resources, understand internal structural differences. You can coach, and then you can also include them in your daily life. So a couple of those stick, and I'm sure there's many more, but those based on this article by score.org are 13 reasons or 13 ways that you can celebrate and support Black businesses. But two that stand out for me is ask what they need. I had a meeting with a young lady last week, and she just recently opened up, it's called Yummy Muffin. The owner's name is Gina, and it's a Black-owned family business. I thought it was just super dynamic. It's a mom, and she has two of her children that ages 16 and 26, helping her out in the store, and literally opened up last month. And she said, all I need is a sign. She said, it's $5,000. I just need a sign so that people know that I'm here. She didn't say, come and support. She didn't say, give me money. She didn't say, all she said is, look, I just need a sign. And I may not have been able to give her a $5,000 check, but I said, hey, let me check with my circle. Let me see who, can provide a sign. Are you pricing around? Is that the best price that you can get for a sign? Is somebody willing to do maybe some payment arrangements? Or maybe there is a sponsor out there that's looking to support or invest in your specific business. So those are just two things right there. Asking for what they need and being able to make that connection via social capital. The other thing that stood out for me is just being intentional. We talk about, this month, August is National Black Business Month. Or sometimes we talk about Black business, buy Black Saturday or day. No, every day, year round, be intentional. And there's not a specific industry that I particularly seek out. It's a Black business, period. I'm going to give you at least one time, and hopefully the customer service is on point. Hopefully the price structure is on point, and I'm going to continue to come back. So those are a couple things to me that stand out about ways that we can be intentional about supporting Black businesses.
Thanks, Chanel. I agree with that. Jeff?
This is such a loaded question because there's so much to unwrap with this. You could talk about this for 3-4 hours, to be honest with you. So many different angles. I'll start with the one is just spread the word about the business, because that I think is one of the biggest problems with businesses, especially businesses of color, that people just don't know about them. And it's important that we at least just, even if you don't support them with your dollars, if you can just, tell other people about it. And I want to give Chanel a shout out because you shared one of my posts this past weekend about a new course that I set up. It's little things like that that are huge. That can go a long way because you never know who's going to see it. And even like, for example, with these calls, this podcast, Alethea, you sent out a message that someone was watching. They were interested in buying some popcorn from Julie's, shop from franchise Popcorn Heaven. So it's all about just getting the word out and advertising. I think that is one of the biggest things we can do to support each other. And on the flip side, people have to understand when they share it, how important it is that they at least get it out there. Because there are a lot of people, just like Chanel was saying, how she wants to, support a Black business. Well, how will she know about it if it's not in her face, or she doesn't see it? But if someone can share it and let her know and put it on social media, then that could be huge. She could do business with someone as far away as Alaska. You never know where they could be, or France. You never know. But we got to get the word out and let people know that the businesses are there. So if you see something on social media that you like, even if you don't know the person, just go check out the website, take a look. If it looks legitimate, why not just share? Why not just pass it along? Because you never know. Or just like it. I've learned a lot about these algorithms, and they drive me crazy, because if your post doesn't get a lot of attention, it gets pushed down to the bottom. And if you even don't get any likes, it gets pushed to the bottom and no one will see it. But if it gets some comments, it'll start creeping to the top of people's pages. And that can be huge just for the visibility of that business and potential revenue for the business. So that is one of the simplest and easiest things people can do. And I'm just going to be real transparent. It drives me crazy when I see someone I hadn't talked to in a long time, like, yeah, I saw your post. I like what you're doing. You do? You ain't told me. You ain't like nothing. You ain't sharing nothing. You ain't commenting nothing, but you like it. So you liking it in from a distance. You're not helping me. I appreciate you liking what I'm doing. I really do. But if you don't at least let me know, give me some feedback, share it. All you gotta do is click like. That could be huge for someone, because that can totally change the algorithm. Not only that, a simple like can be like, wow, people looking at my posts. Okay, that gives me more motivation to keep going. I'm gonna be transparent again. There's nothing worse than put my heart and soul into a video that I do and when I make my videos, I have to do several takes because I want it perfect. I can work on a 10-minute video. It takes me 45 minutes. Then I got to try to edit it and, make sure it's perfect. I got to get my lighting right. I got to get the screen right, all that. Finally get it on there, and I get 2 views, no comments, no likes, no shares, no nothing. Do y'all know how demoralizing that is as an entrepreneur, as a business person? That is very demoralizing. Put all that heart and soul and work into something, pour your heart into something, and it gets nothing, no feedback, nothing. So even if you can just share it, just click like, you don't know how far that can go as far as get it out there in the social media, as far as those algorithms. Not only that, you never know how it can boost that person and say, wow, people are looking, might get more people to look, then you never know what can happen. So that even costing anybody any money. It's barely costing you any time, because I already know how people have short attention spans, because TikTok videos are 6 seconds long and they get 45 million views. So it doesn't take long just to hit like or hit share, and that can go a long way. Now, on the flip side of that, as a business owner, please have your stuff correct. Don't put out no junk business or product. Don't do that. Don't embarrass yourself, because if you mess it up one time, they ain't coming back. You got one shot. One shot, Charlie. This ain't baseball. You don't get 3 swings. For a lot of people, you get 1 swing, because they're already like, okay, I'm gonna give this dude a chance. I'm gonna give her a chance. And if she mess up this one time, now I'm gonna tell everybody how sorry she is, how sorry he is. Never mind a second chance. You get 1 chance. So please just come correct that first time. No matter how much they're spending, treat them like they're $1 million customer, and it could come back to you tenfold. But you got to come correct as a business owner, and everybody else just like or just share. Just hit like at least, because that can really help the algorithms. And a lot of people don't understand algorithms too. So, and that's just even for starters. But I just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you and Chanel, and you too, Dion. I think from last week is just seeing and just knowing, like for the industry that my business is in, that's the hardest one to navigate because it's a up and a down, and sometimes it's down, down, down before you come back up, up, up. And so it's like, she posted about doing the film last year, she still ain't done it, and so now no one's interested in it. And so it makes me like, okay, well, I'm just not posting anything. If you're not on my page for people who are interested in what I'm posting, then I just don't even really bother even putting anything on my personal page because I've gotten used to it, right? I've gotten used to it. So there are a lot of people out there that get disheartened because they think, again, we've had this conversation too, oh, their family and friends going to stand up for them. They're going to da, 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 da. Well, if family and friends, if you're sharing the post, if you blanket share it, people are going to say, oh, she must saw that something that she liked. She didn't co-sign on it. She didn't say this person is doing this and this is, and whatever like that, or, given a reason or something, just that one little tagline or something, that makes other people pay attention to it too. If they're not aware of you and your product or your business and what you're doing. So it goes so many different ways. But again, as African Americans, we have such a hard time getting family and friends and community to really support us. I don't know what makes it that way, but it seems to be always falling that way. And I think it's important that we get circles. Sometimes if you got all the entrepreneurs supporting just all the entrepreneurs, again, how do we reach out into the community and pull those crowds in and increase that coverage? So there's so many ups and downs to how we can support and how we navigate which ones, because sometimes people can have a product, maybe not be something that you would use, but you like the idea that, this person either made the product or, they're doing that. So I think that's a little different too. And with franchises, I think that's a different approach as well. When people have franchises, the name sometimes sells itself and that can work, but people still need support because it's a franchise, but it's located in a different area. Is ran by someone. So it's going to have a different flair to it than the other ones that you have seen. So if you were at somebody else's chain and you like it, well, you think that chain is going to be the same in a different location, it doesn't necessarily work out that way. So what do you guys think about that part?
I would like to say to it, fam, like what you're saying, what Jeff and Chanel, y'all always teach me something better. But I would like to say, I want to remind everybody watching and every entrepreneur that after the last pandemic 100 years ago, the next 10 years, entrepreneurship boomed. And specifically because we're talking about supporting Black business, that's where all our Black Wall Streets came from. We did it and we can do it again. And I would just like to keep speaking to the mind that it takes an intentional effort. I'm thinking, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Jeff, I want to be transparent too right now. So when Stephon Marbury, he created a shoe and a clothing line when he was in the NBA, Starbury. And he was like, I don't want kids paying so much money for my shoes that they could be killed. I don't want people getting robbed for my shoes so they could be killed. And it was so strange because it didn't last. I supported it. I bought a few of them. They kind of looked like Nikes. And I really just bought them because I not only did I like Stephon Marbury, but I appreciated the message. I don't want our Black brothers and sisters to have Jordans, red bottoms, Gucci, whatever on their feet back, and somebody Black will kill them for it. We don't want that. Those are war clothes. That's what that is. And so I just appreciated his intentional effort and his direct message about his shoes and why he kept the prices so affordable and things like that. A lot of Black people just absolutely clowned the whole idea. Man, I'm not wearing that cheap stuff. And they had more on their feet and more on their backs than they had in their pockets and in their wallets and all kind of stuff. And this cognitive piece that young lady was speaking to, Miss Blackie, this cognitive piece, I think it's a mental health, it's a psyche to everything. This is the last example too, Jeff. I love this. Shaq has been selling his shoes for years. Now listen, the first time I seen him in Kmart, because it was still Kmart when Shaq started. The first time I saw him in Kmart, I was like, these are some of the most horrible looking fake shoes. They was hard plastic bottoms and all sides and everything. 20 something years later, Shaq has made 200 million, almost $200 million off of these shoes. And when whoever didn't buy him, is somebody buying him somewhere. And it was just amazing. And his idea was the same as Stephon Marbury's. He was like, I don't want people, because he's been in poverty before. He said, I don't want people to have to pay so much for a pair of shoes. You know what I mean? Because it creates jealousy, especially in our community. It can trigger some of those insecurities, feelings, and all that other kind of stuff. Okay, thank you. That's all I want to say.
When I worked at Payless Shoes, we sold those Shaqs. I worked in Payless many, many years ago before I got in the businesses and before I met Alethi. I worked at Payless Shoes as assistant manager, and people were clowning them shoes. And I was thinking, I had a business mind back then, like, wow, this is a great concept. And I didn't think they looked bad, to be honest with you, D. I didn't think they looked bad. But, everyone has their own, opinion and perception. That's cool. You can respect that. But people clown them shoes. And I'm like, why y'all clown them? They not that bad. What's wrong with them? And I just didn't understand. And ironically, it was us who clowned the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And when if I can remember correctly, my last name was Finding Shoes. So I just thought that was really strange that I saw, more people who didn't look like Shaq. Chanel, like, what's his last name? more people who, didn't look like us buying the shoes and supporting them than he was. So than we are. So I thought that was real interesting. And it's something about our mindset when it comes to buying. And I haven't quite figured out what it is, but it's almost like, and we talked about this before too. Yep, Dion, I know you got something to say. It's almost like we almost don't want to support each other. Some of us, not all of us, because we don't want to see that person do well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe industries. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. There's some type of mental block going on. I don't know. When it comes to entertainers, we'll support them, we'll buy their music, we'll go to the concerts, but I don't know, it seems like with some other businesses, it's almost like we kind of step back. It's almost like they're not supposed to be doing that. I want to just say this real quick. There's this group on Facebook that I follow, a Black group, and it has over almost 2 million followers on this page. And they wanted to branch out of Facebook and, do their own thing and launch this own platform and with businesses on it. And they had this real big fanfare of getting people to go over there, and they finally opened it up. And after like 6 months, they have to quit because no one went over there. And the irony is everyone was on Facebook saying, this is a great page. We need to take this off of Facebook because Facebook be tripping. Well, they did that and nobody went and supported the page, and they eventually shut it down. So no, there's something going on with how we do business. I can't quite figure it out. And I'm still trying to figure it out. And I have my own personal experiences with that too, but it's so many different levels to this that I just can't quite figure it out. But Dion, you brought it up really good, perfect point with the Marburys and the Shaqs. I distinctly remember that, and that was very true.
All I was going to say real fast, and I'm going to be really fast. The psyche of the slavery, the injustices, the discriminations, and all of that was attached to a type of poverty. And I know you all have seen it too. Like I was talking about the people with more on their feet, more on their backs than they got in their pocket. I have seen people, that's why they love to call us consumers, because we consume, we don't save, we don't budget, we don't spend right, and we have been historically in poverty. And it's almost, Jeff, because let me say this too, Jeff. I raised my hand and say I agree with you. I don't know what it is either, right? it's almost like I'm trying to psych myself out. If I look like I got money, if I make them think I got some money, you know, and that gets reflected in the products that I buy. So I buy shoes that are way out of my budget. I do stuff with my clothing that is just way disproportionate. And I buy, you said the entertainment. I got an Xbox and a 900-inch TV, and I don't have a car. You know, I got Jordans and I got Gucci belts. Belts are a big thing now. I got all these clothes that look wonderful, but I have no money. I have no bank account that is right and stuff like that. I don't know what it is either, Jeff. I think it's tied to that historic poverty that Black people have suffered and dealt with. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, if you can afford them big giant TVs and you ain't got a car, I think that is something to look back on. You know, it's interesting the way you put it out there, Dion. It's like so many things come to light, you know, and you look at the people that you know that have that pattern, and then you wonder, how do you cross over to them to even just educate them? So it goes beyond just getting them to be business people, but just being, you know, mindful consumers to the point that they're budgeting their expenses. You know, one of the things I've noticed is like when I do put something out there on my page about something that I'm trying to do, the people don't share. And then I'll talk about, you know, they could be family members as well. They don't share, but then I get the private Cash Me apps. Don't even call me and ask me for money no more. I'm just going to request it through Cash App, and I'm going to wait for you to get it. And then you text me and say, did you see it? Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it, you know. And so, and that's another issue too, because then you're that go-to person. You know, you're the go-to person. Okay, she's doing something. She got extra money. Let me go on over here. You know, I can't pay my light bill this month. I think she'll help me with it. I'm gonna go over here. And so there's a lot of different ways as you get, not just in entrepreneurship, but people in general trying to step up to a different level, you know, be a little bit more financially secure. That's another issue too, that we run into in our communities, in our families sometimes, sadly, you know. And again, it's like, how do we navigate? How do we adjust? And what can we do collectively to try to educate change? Because that's the only thing that we can do, right? Is to try to educate some type of change. I don't know where we could start it at, Jeff.
I don't know where to start either, to be honest with you. All I can tell you is there are 7 billion people on this planet. I don't know how many people y'all know, but I only got like 800 friends on Facebook. My goal is to try to reach as many people as I can. I look at it as a numbers game. If you reach enough people, you'll get the people who are interested in your product. When I was a broker, we had a rule. We had to cold call to get clients. So we had to get as many dials in every day as we could. So if you talk to 100 people a day, you were guaranteed that 10 of them would say yes to whatever you were pitching or any idea. So it's the same thing with business. We can't focus on the people who aren't supporting us. We got to try to reach as many people as we can, which goes back to the sharing and the liking. Oh, Alethea, you do that too. Both of y'all do that. So I shout out Chanel, but I want to acknowledge you guys too. Alethea, you always liking people's posts, and I appreciate that. Indeed, you always comment on my posts like on LinkedIn. So I just want to acknowledge that. I appreciate that. But see, we got to those little things can do a lot. So we have to just reach as many people as we can. That's the only way you're going to grow your business. We cannot worry about the people who aren't helping us and supporting us, because everyone up here has a story or stories of people we know who aren't supporting us. And that's normal. We just have to accept that and just keep pushing forward. We have no choice but to keep pushing forward. I don't know the answer, to be honest with you, as to why they don't. I'm not even trying to figure it out. I don't have time, because it could be 100 different reasons. So the goal for me is 7 billion people out there. I got to just keep cranking and trying to reach as many as I can. And then another thing I noticed too, if you don't have a lot of If you're not very popular, you don't get that attention. But once you start getting, say, a lot more followers or people liking you, then they just start coming out the woodwork. So you get more people liking you. Just, it's almost like they just following the crowd. Oh, they're popular. Let me see what's going on over here. Oh, they ain't got no followers. I ain't waste my time. So it's a weird game that you have to play as far as business is concerned, and I just find it really interesting. You know, you can see it even with entertainers. If they're not very popular in the beginning, check back in about 3 to 5 years, and all of a sudden they hot and everybody love them. They ain't had a new song out, but you know, they've been pitching this one song, no one liked in the beginning, but it started catching on. Now everybody and their mama is liking that person. It's the same thing with business. You know, it's just the weirdest thing. That's like a psychology or sociology thing we need to, I don't know. It's just interesting. But you just got to just keep going. That's it. That's all we can do.
Yeah, and then that's definitely an interesting point too, into the entrepreneurs that's watching. This conversation is not to set any fear in you if you're in the process of starting up or wanting to launch. It's just being mindful of some of the obstacles that you may face when you do come out. Don't be discouraged by the people who you thought would support you if they're not immediately doing so. So that was one of the first things I wanted to say. Chanel?
Several thoughts, Buddy. Several thoughts coming to mind. One thing I wanted to put out there is talking about mindset. A lot of my background is in nonprofit, and there's a book called Bridges Out of Poverty, and it talks about the mindset of individuals who have been in generational poverty, but then also situational poverty, and what that bridge is from individuals in poverty to middle class to even wealthy. So it's not even gender based, it's strictly, or not gender, race based, it's just strictly mindset based on the conditions. So I think that may address some of the questions or thoughts that we've had surrounding the mindset and supporting Black businesses. But we've talked about ways to support Black businesses, but to me, it's the why. It's the why factor. Why are we doing it? Why should we be intentional about supporting Black businesses? But I came across a stat that currently there are 2.9 million Black businesses in America, where 8 out of 10 will fail in the first 18 months due to lack of resources and funding. That's why. We're supporting Black businesses because we're building up and inspiring or empowering our communities. Think about, like Dion said, the money that we're circulating back into the community, the wealth gap that we're closing as we're supporting more Black businesses. I think another stat that we talked about is that Black women business owners are also starting businesses at a high rate. Think about those single parent households that we're pouring into by supporting Black businesses as well. And also just creating jobs and opportunities. Black business or small businesses, period, are creating wages and jobs and opportunities and tax investment. We're pouring into the economy just like the larger corporations and other entities as well. But getting back to the why, not just doing it to say you're checking a box so that you can share it on social media, but being intentional because we know that we're pouring into our community, our future, and then closing that wage gap.
I will go back to what, and I agree with you, Chanel. I'm gonna go back to what Dion said. After the last pandemic, there was an influx of entrepreneurship. Well, that happened with this pandemic too. In fact, there were more people choosing to take that leap of faith to be an entrepreneur because they're tired of corporate America's ups and downs dictating how we live. The other fun fact that's out there, and then this is telling my age, but AARP has a resource that shows that there are more people over 50 throughout this pandemic that are starting businesses because of the way that corporate America is shifting. And so once you reach a certain age, you know, you're expendable. And then where do we go type thing. So there's been a lot of changes that this pandemic has brought out. And so much so that if you're trying to start a business now, it's not as easy to be an LLC. They want to force you into being a sole proprietor as opposed to being an LLC now. So they're even changing that. It's like we got hooked to the game and they switched it up on us, you know? So, and I just thought that was weird because I was trying to redo something this year, and what I was able to put my classification as then is I'm no longer eligible for it, including down to the EIN numbers. They have changed the game. So there's so many different things, but always make sure that when you are seeking your knowledge, make sure you're doing it from the right resources. Even if you're doing it alone, pay attention to the websites that you go to, that you're getting that information, so you don't find yourself spending more money than you need to, because there are quite a few things setting up you can do for free in your state. Go to your state website to get your information on their requirements for LLCs and so forth. And go to the IRS websites for EIN them, so that you can get set up, because there are companies out there trying to charge you to get an EIN, and you don't need that. So with all the other different things that we discussed, those are some of the things to be mindful of. As Chanel pointed out in the early part of the show, August is Black Business Month, National Black Business Month. And so we're going to start sharing some Black businesses for you on our Facebook and our Instagram pages. So we definitely will ask you to just keep tuning in to us, and we're going to try to live by that creed for the rest of the month, highlighting different Black businesses, not only people who've been on the show, but other people who have reached out that are interested in the show specifically. So we want to do that. Last words, I'll let Chanel start. Ladies first.
All right, double F Jeff. Let double L Chanel go. I think, I mean, I love this conversation. I love that we're having this talk about ways to support each other, but then also getting back to the why to support each other. And I think just being intentional about it. And I like what you said, Jeff, about just share the little things. You don't even have to pull out your wallet. The little things, there are so many simple things that you can do to support Black businesses. We went to brunch Sunday at a Black-owned brunch spot in Charlotte here, and just simple, we were just taking pictures, and I was sharing on my social media. That is simple. Now, granted, I'd already spent money in the establishment, which was great, but that extra little step, or that one simple thing that somebody in my network may see and say, hey, you know what, I may check that place out. It looks like a good time. I may check that place out next time. So just be intentional about supporting each other. And remember the reasons why we're supporting Black businesses.
I agree, Jeff.
Alita, you brought up a point about more Black women starting businesses and things, and people over age 50. You got to remember something too. Thanks to COVID, a lot of businesses got shut down. People couldn't work. They still had bills. So they had no choice but to branch out. And I think this is a big reason why so many businesses are struggling to find suitable help, because people had their backs against the wall, so they had to do something else. And a lot of it was online-based businesses. And now that things open back up, a lot of companies are still struggling to get people because, quite frankly, a lot of people have woken up and like, I don't want to go back to that. Why should I go back to that? And so we got to keep that in mind too. When we support these businesses, we got to think of a lot of people, they need to make money, and we need to support them too. Now, at the same time, those businesses should, if we're going to spend money with them, we should get some type of benefit also from that if we're going to spend that money. So it's critical that you as a business owner, you create something that's going to be in demand that people can want and use and need as well. So you can't just create a business and it's nothing people want or will use. That could be a waste of your time too, because then you're going to be angry and bitter, but you got the wrong product or service out there. That's not going to be beneficial to people. It's almost like, you a snow and ice removal business in Florida, and you mad because no one's calling you for business. You don't have the right product or service. You got to use common sense at the same time. Don't just say I'm gonna start this business. I'm just saying I'm gonna start a business, and when no one supports, it's like, okay, they don't like it because of whatever reason. No, you don't have a product that people want. So you got to still be mindful of that as well. So there's so many different factors, but whatever you're doing, make sure it's something that people want, the demand is there, and make sure you put out the best possible product you can. Try to reach as many people as you can, and then people can share it or just like it. That's huge too, because people don't understand how those algorithms work. But they are a monster when it comes to business and online. They're a monster. And if people understand that, they're going to be doomed.
They do, they flip flop literally every other month or something. It's like you do things one way and then all of a sudden, then the next way you do the exact same thing and you got 3 responses when last week you got 300. So it's very interesting how they keep doing that. So yeah, that's a great piece of information to share, Jeff. And Chanel, what you were saying, so Tati, she's doing that because, you know, she's on her 29 days of Tati for her birthday stuff, but she's been intentional about everything that she's buying is Black owned. She's been very intentional about that, the handbags and just even the little trinkets for a little brunch birthday party bash thing she's coordinating. She is purposely seeking out Black entrepreneurs and products for that. So I think that's pretty cool too. Already have that mindset to do that. So it's pretty cool.
I love it. Jeff, you made a point, and I just wanted to tap into this real quick about the level of service that we're delivering as Black business owners, not even just service quality and all that good stuff, but also as a consumer, having that grace. I think we talked about this recently. You know, we walk into a Black establishment and our expectation level is through the roof. And, you know, we don't understand that maybe, you know, she's worked her 9 to 5 today and, you know, she's just coming in and maybe her babysitter couldn't come. And, you know, you don't know all the hurdles that somebody is having because we have them. I mean, we know that as Black business owners, like I mentioned, we're lacking the resources, we're lacking the funding on top of all the other things that we have going on in our lives, but we're still showing up and we're still trying to deliver. So having that grace, I think, when you're supporting Black businesses is important. I mean, we'll go to Walmart and we know their service is horrible. We go back and forth to McDonald's and we know the service and the quality is horrible. Don't get me talking about the nail salons.
Oh my God. See, and that's another,
Okay.
I mean, it's true because we can go online right now and find at least 10 videos of people pitching a fit about the service at name a big business, mad, want to talk to the manager, angry, showing out in the store, and you got hundreds of comments, and same people complain and go right back to that same store.
You right back in there next Friday when you got paid.
Oh, next
But
Friday.
we're not going to, you know,
Right.
back to support
Right.
B&B's, you know, nail salon, whoever. I don't know, I'm making up
Right.
stuff, but having that grace, you know what I mean? We freely give it to everyone else when they're not worthy, they're not deserving, where I could spend my dollars elsewhere, where I know that I'm pouring into the community. I know that I'm making a difference on this person's livelihood. I'm helping them create jobs. I'm helping close the racial generational gap. Those things I think is what we need to be intentional about and have that grace when we're supporting Black businesses. No, we're not going to get it right every time and all the time. Hopefully we'll get there, but give us another chance, give us another shot before you go and you bash us on social media. You'll get on social media to say that, but you didn't like a post, you didn't share a post or comment on anything. But I think just leading with that grace as well. And I agree, Black businesses, we need to show up. We need to show up and show that we are worthy and earn the Black dollar. So I just wanted to add that, Jeff, you made a good point.
And, you know, as business owners, it doesn't change who we are. We're still part of the community. You know, we're still learning what we are trying to succeed in. You know, if you're in a regular office space, you see people make mistakes. Oh, she didn't change that toner. She knew that toner was out of that printer. You know, it's the same thing. You know, we're learning. This is a desire that we have. And we're trying to impact our community, you know, bringing wealth into the community. So when we mess up one time, don't tear us down completely. Because again, like Chanel says, we're just human, you know, but we have a dream and, you know, we're trying to do something special for our lives, for our children's lives. Break those generational curses, like Jeff said. This is what we're trying to do. And so in doing so, you know, support Black businesses. We have another show coming up for Chanel on different ways that we can support Black businesses. And we'll start talking about business showers and get more information on that. So that's going to be Chanel's show. She's going to run the show. Yep, she didn't know that part. She just found out, just like y'all found out. But yeah.
You can't handle it. She'll keep us in line, that's for sure.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Look, I don't mute y'all, but I got a feeling she might.
I'm gonna say everybody's mute. It's gonna be a webinar. Can't nobody talk, say that. No, I'm joking.
Us.
Look.
Yeah, you good?
You have to raise your hand. I'm joking. We'll have a good time.
Hear your last word, Chanel.
That's it. I think we had a great time tonight. You know, I think just continue to lead with grace and be intentional about supporting each other. We're family. We're family. And we all want to see each other win. We should all want to see each other win.
Agreed. Leave it at that.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So tune in again next week, and we thank you for your support. You can follow us on Instagram. Julie wasn't able to join us, but you can also find her on Instagram too at Popcorn Heaven at Steel Creek. And Jeff, he definitely has his classes on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. It is a wealth of knowledge that he continues to bring to the panel, to this podcast, but it's also a wealth of knowledge that he's sharing, not only for you, but for your kids too, to help them get an entrepreneur mindset. So definitely look up Jeff. We'll be sharing his information about the programs that he has, as well as Chanel's information for her business too. So we thank you for joining us every week, and we look forward to seeing you back again next week.